All right, so we have Adrian here on our fireside chat here, and Adrian, thanks for joining the call today and presenting your products.
Thanks for having me, Dwayne. Really happy to be here.
Great. All right, so over to you.
All right. Well, so I figured today we could take just a quick trip through who Nureva is, what we do, and then Dwayne, as you know, right? If you have any questions, I'd much rather have a conversation than do a presentation. So don't hesitate to interrupt and make sure we get the information that's valuable to your viewers. So let's just start with what we do. So Nureva is at our core an audio platform company. We do advanced audio conferencing for a whole wide variety of collaborative environments, and it's broken down into three pieces. So part one is our microphone mist technology. Part two is the hardware, the actual audio conferencing systems themselves, the physical device. And part three is our management platform called Nureva Console. So we'll dive a little bit into each of those as we go here. Let's start with the microphone mist. What is it? What does it do? Why does it matter? Well, it makes sure that anyone, anywhere in a room that is sized for our devices can be heard, right? We provide full room audio coverage, continuous auto calibration, full duplexing, everything you need from an audio conferencing system, while also making it super easy to install. And what really sets the microphone mist apart is it's totally new. Right? Nureva holds patents for the technology for the microphone mist. And from our HDL 300, we deliver over 8,000 virtual microphones to fill a room of up to about 25 feet by 25 feet. We'll take a look at some of the rooms in a second here. So that's the introduction to the microphone mist. Let's talk about room sizes, right? I said we have a variety of products for a variety of rooms, and really we fit into everything that's from your huddle spaces all the way up to your large meeting rooms. Hybrid classrooms are getting asked about a lot right now. And we do that with three products, right? We have the HDL 200, HDL 300, and the dual HDL 300. And all of those are delivered and sized based on how big your room is, right? Keeps it very simple. The product has a very low footprint. In most cases, it's never more than 3 parts to cover rooms, even up to 30 by 50. So it's a very simple system to be able to deploy quickly and at scale if you need to, without having to get into the ceiling or really get your hands dirty delivering anything other than good quality full room pickup. But I talk a little bit about why customers are currently working with us, right? Why do people use the HDL 300? Why are they looking to Nureva? Here in Canada, a lot of that, I'm not going to lie, is because we are a Canadian company. People like that, right? Not a whole lot of Canadian tech companies out there. So we always like to make sure that we mention that to audiences where that's important. And then here are some just a quick list. I won't read through them. I would say right now, the biggest ones are full room microphone coverage is important, right? Because people right now have to sort of stay apart from each other. So in a room where everyone might used to be able to gather around a table, people are spreading out. I had a conversation like that this morning. Automatic calibration is important too. The system doesn't need to be recalibrated when the room itself changes. And that's really because of our auto calibration algorithm that adapts to what's happening in the room on the fly. Good example of that. Imagine a meeting room that the furniture has to move to support physical distancing today, but then can come back and be all together tomorrow, hopefully. No one's got to switch an input or anything like that. The system will just adapt on the fly. Is there anything here you wanted me to cover specifically, Dwayne? I thought this would be a good spot for a question.
Hi, Adrian, thanks for stopping and pausing for a question. And sure, I think one of the big things that I hear from my clients is, what do I do with the employees that are coming back from working from home, and how do I customize the different workspaces to make sure that everyone's safe but we're still being productive in the office? How would you address those issues?
Yeah, lots of thinking going into that, right? And you've got to consider, first and foremost, the people who are coming back into the office space. I mean, you can tell from my background, this is not a virtual background. This is my actual desk in an actual office in downtown Calgary, and I'm one of like 2 people here today. Slowly, we're having more people come back, and we're spending a lot of time, and I suspect many people are spending a lot of time making sure that we consider the people, and we enable that, right? We let them spread out and get close together over time without having to invest in a new piece of gear, right? And that's all because of what we're going through right now, which is not over, but it feels like it's getting to the end, right? The other thing that's important to message here is there's no shared microphones. Because we cover that whole room, no one's got to pick up a thing and pass it around. Everyone can just walk into a room, be as far apart as they're comfortable being, and move forward. No touch design is important. It is a wall mounted unit, so you can walk in and just connect to the system via USB, dedicated room. We're also certified for barcode click share use. We'll talk about that in a second, but if you've got that screen sharing, that low touch, no touch meeting room experience already set up, or you're looking at doing it, we fully support that as well. Large spaces are something we get asked about a lot right now too, right? Everybody's got these big spaces, and they weren't necessarily tuned to pick up the entire space. It's more, let's pick up one person, or let's pick up a specific area, but not the entire space. And we really can deliver appropriate microphone coverage in those big spaces for a fraction of the cost of some of the other solutions out there, right? Coverage of up to 30 by 50 feet. That sounds like a really big room, and it is. Right now, we're doing a lot of work with universities, especially in Ontario. Ontario seems to be a popular place for hybrid learning right now, where they are looking at various ways of enabling both in-room and remote students to be equal participants in those big rooms, right? They don't want to sacrifice the experience in the room, nor do they want the person who's remote to not have as good an experience. So they're looking at these big spaces, and it can be a challenge to make it work. DIY installation, completely doable. Not to say most people do this. We work with a lot of AV installers, IT folks who are doing installations for themselves, but you don't need a technician to do it. If you have, the skills to do that, if you're interested in learning something new, like how to install an HDL300, for example, it's something you absolutely can do on your own. Some people like that. Some people really don't engage in that at all. And we have the auto calibration, right? I'll say auto calibration again here, because once you do that installation successfully, there's no need to keep going, right? So hybrid learning. What do we have in hybrid learning? Remote students can hear exactly what's going on in the class. Right now, universities are looking for solutions to really make sure they can get in and have a good experience regardless of how someone is joining, right? It's very important to be able to do that. And one of the features built into the product is something called active zone control that lets them limit the pickup of a big room or even a small room. It lets them focus on an area where, imagine a professor would stand, where they will be the focus of all that microphone pickup while attenuating any background noise from people in the room, shuffling papers, things like that. High flex, another popular term, hybrid high flex. I'm not actually sure if they're interchangeable or not. But again, we support that at all of these universities, really because we can turn any kind of room into a fully enabled remote learning space. So whether there are people in the room, just a teacher in the room with people joining display, there's all kinds of different ways to be able to use it. And the HDL200 can be mounted. So while the HDL300 needs to be mounted on a wall is a pretty static system, the HDL200 can be mounted to a mobile display and be moved from space to space. That's becoming popular with our K-12 customers, and we're actually working with a marketing company in Seattle that's going to do the same thing. A little bit more on active zone control. So obviously, if you capture an entire room, maybe you don't always want to, right? So leveraging the microphone mist, we're able to define a sized area. So it's not done by any complicated math. It's just a GUI. It's dragged to the size. And you can literally define the pickup area of the room centered on one of the HDL300 bars. So it could be the front of the room. It could be the back of the room. It really depends on where the bar gets installed, but this is designed to let you have the ability to focus on a teacher. And then the teacher also has the ability to turn that off and then widen out to full room coverage. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that makes sense.
So when you say GUI, what do you mean? Is there like an application, or how would someone go in and make that change?
Good question. And we'll actually talk about the Nureva console software in just a minute here. I'm going to quickly go through just our compatibility. So obviously, as a USB connected audio device, you need to play nice with everybody. We've got certifications and testing ongoing with all of these companies. We are a Microsoft Teams certified devices for Teams rooms as of December. We are, like I said, certified for barcode click share. This is an old slide. Hey, breaking news here, Dwayne. So even though the note here says only the HDL300 and dual are currently supported, the HDL200 is actually supported as of about 3 weeks ago. So the entire Nureva line is certified to work with the new barcode ClickShare CX series. Here's a quick wiring diagram, right? Can I do this myself? I would say most people could connect the camera to USB cables and some power. So this is just an example of how we work together with Barco. Nureva console, this is the GUI you were asking about, right? So be in control of your units. Most people don't want to manage more than sort of 5 to 10 units by going room to room. And Nureva console is our way of doing that. It's two parts. So there's the console cloud portion and then the client PC portion, right? So in room, out of room. In here is where you do all of the setting up of the devices, right? So controlling optimal settings for echo reduction and noise reduction, volume, status controls. There's a whole bunch of things you can do in here. It's also where you can set up the active zone control. So you go in and it's just a visual representation, top-down look at the room that says, hey, I want my active zone to be, the 8 feet from the bar and 15 feet wide. And that's what it does. You can even, because you can test it remotely, we have a lot of people who will set it up remotely. They'll have the professor in the room testing, and they'll be listening on a call remotely and making those changes in real time. And if you're super into creating your own way to control the device, we do have cloud-based APIs that are available to integrate our products into existing workflows and solutions. So lots of different options here. Basically, if you're able to take advantage of cloud-based APIs, head to nureva.com/developers and people can get in there. There are some example ones made. We have simulated devices, so you can test them right on that page. Lots to do here as far as an API is concerned. I won't spend a lot of time on it though. Just a little bit more about what you can do there. We'll just move from there. And then Dwayne, this is where I wanted to end. So it's one thing for you and I to sit here, talk about the product in abstract terms, but we do make it very easy to hear it for yourself, right? You can book right off the website at nureva.com/book-a-demo, and you're able to hear it for yourself based on a calendar, pick a time that works for you, and someone will be in one of our rooms and we'll walk you through an in-person live demo. I want to just hit that. It's not recorded. It's a live human being, two-way conversation.
Thanks, Adrian. So if I take a stab at this, you've got a really great product here that's simple and easy to use. It can be used in different room setups, in different customers from universities to B2B companies or corporations that have multiple boardrooms can use this to get their workers back to work, engaged into a boardroom setting that is a safe environment with spread out. And when we go back to shoulder, the product will automatically calibrate. There's not a lot of setup to do. And they can use your system to collaborate with folks around the globe or from different offices, or even within the same building virtually. And I was wondering if maybe you could talk to us about some use cases that you're currently selling to customers now and how they were potentially using this product to collaborate.
So right now, hybrid learning, people setting up classrooms for the eventual return of people is a big one. And most of that is because there's a sense that everyone kind of proved, and this is especially true for university students, that they don't need to be in the room to gain that knowledge, right? They're able to effectively learn remotely. And we've talked to universities that are doing everything from setting up rooms for hybrid learning on a schedule where, say, half of the students are in the room this week, half are the other. And the complete opposite end of that spectrum is we have a couple of universities who are just setting up their rooms that will basically just be online all the time. So you show up for class that day, fantastic. You sign into a Zoom for the same class the next day, fantastic. As long as you're there gaining the knowledge, they're making that available. Increasingly, right now, we're doing a lot of work with companies who are coming back, who are looking to improve the audio pickup for their spaces, but also don't want to invest in something that they'll have to just invest again in later on. Thanks to our auto calibration and the fact that we're continually improving the product through firmware, they know that they can make the investment in the HDL 300 today, and then as the room adjusts and adapts to whatever's next, they don't have to think about it, right? We'll adapt to them versus them having to adapt the audio product to whatever happens in the space.
That's great. So folks, if anybody would like to have a demo of this in real time with a real person, other than a recorded video, then you can definitely click the link below. that'll take you to the calendar where you can book your time slot and get a demo of Nureva before you even purchase it or look into getting a quote. You can certainly do that. And I'd like to personally thank you, Adrian, for joining the call today. It's always great to have uh, amazing product like this on Business Hub. You know, Business Hub works with small to enterprise businesses with helping them improve their overall communications, and this product fit right in to our line as well. So looking forward to meeting you folks, and if you have any other questions, you can direct message me here on LinkedIn or on YouTube, or you can click the link below to book your one-on-one demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Dwayne.
Thanks for coming out.